Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris for The Heart of the Home, and today we're going to be working with fresh Virginia ginger. And this is fresh ginger root that's grown right here in the state. And what we're going to be making today is kind of what I like to call a bit of a fusion dish. It's a little bit Hispanic in nature, and it's a little bit Asian, and it all comes together real beautifully. So what we're going to be making today are twice fried plantains, and it's topped with tuna tartare, and then it's topped with guacamole. And this is the perfect hors d'oeuvre appetizer for the holidays, or even in the summer, especially if you could get a hold of really nice fresh tuna. And it's wonderful. It seems like an odd combination, but trust me, it's great. So what we're going to start by doing is we're going to begin by frying some of these plantains. And plantains are not exactly like bananas, so you want to make sure that you're using plantains and not using bananas. So I've got some peanut oil going here in a pan, and I've sliced some of these plantains up, and I'm just going to drop them in here. And these are twice fried, so this is going to be the first fry. And they move pretty quickly. Turn it down just a hair, because we're going to fry them again, so you want to make sure you don't burn them. And one thing about plantains is that oftentimes, especially when they're green, it's a little difficult to get the peel. And this is a little trick. I just cut the ends off, and then you score it. And you can slide your finger up underneath and work your way all the way around, and your peel will come right off very easily. Now these are cooking up very quickly, so I'm going to take these out as I cook them, like so. I'm going to do one more batch here real quickly. While this is going, I'm going to make the tuna tartare. And this tuna tartare is basically a combination of onions, and this is where we're going to use our fresh ginger. So I'm going to have a combination of soy sauce, going to have some sesame oil, which I love sesame oil. This is some fresh grated, just sweet onion, and some green onions. And then we're going to add in a very small amount of sriracha sauce. And sriracha sauce is basically like a red chili sauce, and it has a punch, trust me, so you want to be careful and not use too much. If you like it spicy, add more. Okay, these are looking good, so I'm going to take these out. And we're just going to let these rest for just a moment before we do the second fry. Meanwhile, I'm going to add our ingredient of the day, which is the ginger, and I love to grate it. Grated ginger is so much nicer, in my opinion, than mincing it, because a lot of times when you mince it or chop it, you're going to get kind of that fibrous chewiness to it, and that's not always appealing when you're eating. But this ginger, when you grate it, looks just like this, and it's really, really wonderful. It has a really strong flavor, so you get a lot of gingeriness in it without having to have those chewy pieces in there. So this is done, and I'm going to toss this together. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper, no salt because I've got soy sauce in there. But you definitely want to make sure you have sushi grade, really good quality fresh tuna, because this is completely raw. You can make this several hours ahead, absolutely. It does better when it chills in the fridge for a little while. Okay. The next thing that we're going to make is just a basic guacamole, and that's what's going to go on top of the tartare that's on top of our fried plantains. So the way I like to make guacamole is kind of chunky. I am just going to take this guac, and I'm going to add some minced hot pepper, some jalapeno. If you have it, you use any hot pepper that you want, and some garlic. And this is finely minced. And then I'm going to give it a squeeze of lime, not too much, just a little bit. A generous amount of salt, sea salt. And this is good on its own, just like this, but I'm going to up the ante just a little bit and add some fresh cilantro. And when you're mincing herbs like this, if you want to get kind of a finer mince, if you just make it into a little ball, I'm just going to do about a tablespoon or so. And I've got 2 avocados here. And so you can add a little bit more or less depending on your taste. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and begin flattening some of these for the second fry. I'm just going to take a couple and show you as an example. You could use a meat tenderizer to do this, obviously the flat side, not the serrated side, but you can just use a bowl if you have that. And this is about the consistency that you're looking for. You want them to be thin enough so they're crispy, but not so thin that they fall apart, so don't beat them to death. You can get a little bit of aggression out if you like, but not too much. So I'm going to go ahead and do these in the second fry, and when we come back, we'll assemble our dish and it'll be done. So we've done a batch here, and this is what you're looking for when you're finished. You want it to be crispy, and you want it to be cooked all the way through so you don't have that starchiness. Like when they're at this stage, they're going to be way too starchy to eat. So it is very important to do the twice fry on this. Plus, these are really, really lovely when they are fried twice. Arguably, everything's really lovely when it's fried twice. Now I'm just going to make some of these right here, and I'm going to place a little spoonful of the tartare on top of each of these. Next, I'm going to top each with a little dollop of the guacamole, and it makes for such a pretty color. Finally, I'm just going to give a little sprinkling of herbs around the plate, just to give it a little bit more color and brighten things up. You could do a little squeeze of sriracha around the plate as well if you wanted to. All right. And here you have it. Twice fried plantains with tuna tartare and homemade guacamole. It's a perfect party appetizer. I encourage you to give it a try, even though it's a little bit different. I'm Kendra Bailey Morris for Heart of the Home. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.